All right, we turn our attention now to the Middle East, where Israel's military says the Gaza ceasefire is back on this morning after the country launched a wave of strikes across the enclave overnight. That killed dozens of people. Israel says this was in response to what it called violations to the agreement by Hamas militants. Now, despite the latest test to the fragile U.S. brokered peace deal, President Trump says the overall agreement is not at risk.
They killed an Israeli soldier, so the Israelis hit back, and they should hit back. When that happens, they should hit back.
So do you think does that worry you about the ceasefire? Does that jeopardize the ceasefire in any way?
No, nothing's going to jeopardize. You have to understand, Hamas is a very small part of peace in the Middle East, and they have to behave.
BBC News Middle East analyst Sebastian Usher is following all of this from Jerusalem for us and joins us now. Sebastian, good morning. Tell us more about these violations Israel says it responded to, and help our viewers understand why, despite the killing of a number of people, the ceasefire deal appears to be intact.
Well, Israel seems to have launched the strikes, which are the deadliest wave of attacks since the ceasefire came into effect, after an Israeli soldier was killed north of Gaza, where soldiers are trying to dismantle and destroy the remaining underground networks there, which have played such a big role during this war in terms of Hamas's capabilities, military, but also where the hostages have been kept. It also came as the issue of the remaining bodies of the dead Israeli hostages. There's still problems over that. The Israeli officials, the Israeli authorities, believing essentially that Hamas is playing for time, but it would be able to deliver those bodies, to hand them over much more quickly than they've been doing. The Israelis put up a video yesterday which they said was evidence of Hamas essentially staging a fake recovery of a body. So later last night, the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu ordered a wave of what he called powerful strikes, and that's what they were. They were across Gaza, in Gaza City, in the center of Gaza, in Han Yunis. Now, the Israeli military has issued a statement this morning saying that it struck 30 militant commanders. Didn't give more details about who they were or where they were. The reports that we have from medical sources, from officials in Gaza, say that a number of children were killed, a number of women were killed, that in some instances 5 or 6 people were killed at one time. These are all images, these are all scenes reminiscent of the war at its height, which of course gives a sense that the ceasefire is becoming more and more fragile. I think, though, when President Trump says that it won't be jeopardized, he's of course talking about the bigger picture, the picture that at the moment Israel, the Israeli government, has no reason to launch full all-out hostilities against Hamas, against the other factions in Gaza, and that Hamas hasn't got the military capability and the will to do so. But the problem is that this first phase of the ceasefire is still not really heading with any real momentum towards the next. And that is going to be even more difficult to get across the line and to ensure that the war genuinely does come to an end.
Sebastian in Jerusalem, just past 1:12 there. Sebastian, we appreciate your reporting. Thank you.